Okay, welcome. Hi. Let's do the second tutorial video. So this time I thought I'll cover sequences and how I go about programming a sequence. So by sequence I mean like a sequenced bass line or a sequenced synth line. It could be an arpeggio, an ARP, or it could just be something a bit simpler. Here we are in Logic Pro, and I'll zoom everything so it's nice and clear. And yep, I've just got a basic drum beat to work to. Couldn't be more basic. It's a DPM 48 apparently, which I like the sound of the DPM 48. Okay, so well, I've got a synth already here. That's alto, playing fluty. I don't even want that. So if I just go back to default, alto default, okay, and we'll give him a bit of saw wave so we can hear him nicely in the video. Okay, so the way I go about writing a sequence, this could also be how I write a bass line or anything like that. So I start off by thinking of it as, you know, in the same way as I'd write a percussion part, you know. I'm writing I'm writing something which is rhythmically interesting. Yeah, I don't want it just to be something, just every single note of the bar, and I mean like in an ARP. That's okay, but it's not as rhythmically interesting. And also the other point worth mentioning is it's worth doing this yourself and not using an arpeggiator. An arpeggiator is fine, but it's less controllable, and it's also it's not something you can then take into other ideas and manipulate and all the rest of it. It does what its thing. It does its thing. Okay, so let's go. Let's pick this. Okay. So if I'm programming, what I'll usually do is I nearly always work like this and not with a keyboard. When I'm doing this kind of thing, I kind of like the tight accuracy of doing it with the piano roll, and I can kind of hear in my head what notes I want to sound. So I'll start with, I'll have it running, have the beat running so I can hear what's happening rhythmically, and then I'll just quickly knock out a line, and I'll probably do it on one note to start with and just create like an interesting rhythm. So okay, so that's me, got my start. Now at this point, that's fine. I want to now create a second line on top, which is kind of going to react to that bottom line. So again, I'm keeping it rhythmically interesting, and I'm just picking notes which I like the sound of that go with this. So I'm on a D. If you're this way inclined and you think in terms of scales, then you might choose, you know, a D major or a D minor scale or whatever. But if you're just knocking notes out, just listen, just use your ears. You don't need to know theory, you know, it's not necessary. You know a D is going to go. Quick rule of thumb, something that's a fifth above will always sound good. A fourth above will always sound good, pretty much, in relation to the bass note you're using. By fourth I mean 4 whole tones above, which is get into theory. So I kind of want to avoid that and keep things simple for people who don't understand theory. Okay, I'm just going to knock out a line which sounds good above, so you'll see what I mean when I'm doing it. Okay, so there we go. I've got a sequence which is working fine. You'll also notice when I'm sequencing the second line, it has a sort of an arc to it. So you're kind of thinking in terms of, in this case, it comes up and then it goes back down. So it creates its kind of self-answering question. Each time it goes round, it's like asking the question, going up, answering the question coming down. If you want to make it a bit more kind of like open-ended, then you would just have it going up and not coming down again. So let's do that. Let's change the notes. We already know which notes are working, so okay. So now we've got it going up. So it's kind of asking a question and then going back to the beginning. So let's pick them as our central. I'm going to colour them a different colour so that you can see them more clearly when I'm talking. And yeah, in Logic, when you change the colour, that's changing the velocity. So they'll sound slightly differently, but not too badly, not too different. Okay, now I'm going to put in another line. This third set of notes might be on top. Or it might be, and I'm going to fit them in amongst it. So I'm not going to use any. I'm not going to put any notes playing at the same time as each other. I'm going to keep it in mono. So each note will be filling a gap, and then I'm just going to work out a new set of notes that go with these guys. Okay, I probably don't need any more notes than that. So there I've just put 3 falling notes. I'm going to colour them a different colour again, colour them green. Okay, so we've now got yeah, it's giving me more things to play with. Now at this point I might decide I want to turn it into a full ARP, you know, playing at full, you know, every single note filled in. I could do that with just by repeating notes I've already got and then shuffling them around to fill the gaps. So if you did want to do that, for example, you know these notes are working, so you just copy them across, except you just move them around so that they're filling the gaps. So that's them filling the gaps, and I take this one off, so I just turn that one off. And now you've got something that every single note in the 16th is playing. Okay, there you go. That's how I do it. That's how I write it up. If I want to change anything, the main thing to think about is these arcs. And by colour coding them, I've made it more obvious what each one's doing. This one's sort of a repeating pattern, almost the green one, because it's the same notes again. The orange one is going up, and the kind of orange guy, red guy at the bottom is keeping the kind of rhythm going. Now, if I want to make this into a longer one and therefore give myself more space to play with this arc of the other notes, I'll just copy everything over. Makes it nice and easy, and now I've got to decide what do I want to do? What can I do instead of it just being a repeating pattern? Well, instead what I could do is I could have the orange guys. It's asking a question in the first half. It's going up. So in the second half I'll have it coming down. There you go. That works fine, doesn't it? And this way I've got it coming all the way down. There you go. You can hear the notes when I'm pulling them around. I can kind of hear in my head where it's going. Yeah, and that's how we do it. That's how I'd change it. Okay, next thing you might do once you've written the sequence is you might decide to make it play twice as slow, like this. In Logic, you simply Option grab the bottom right hand corner, press the Option key, drag it and it'll make it go half as fast. Okay, before I do that, I'm going to drag into a new track. Another thing worth thinking about, if you do that and you've got a part written like that, you've written this part. Now, how to get more mileage out of it, how to turn it into other things. So in this case, I've halved the speed, and I'm going to get it played by a pad sound. You know, why not? I mean, you've written it as a sequence, but why not play it as a pad? In fact, you could even play it, if I drag that down and silence it, if I just copy this part over, this fast part, and if instead I play it with a pad sound, I think this was already loaded with something. Okay, it's got a classic Oberheim brass sound. There you go. You've got something which can operate instead as a kind of more like a pad sound. It's a sequence, but it's not like a tight little sequence that's sitting on the bottom. And also you can play it with the release, of course. You can turn it into a sequence. In the course of a track, that gives you enormous flexibility as to what you're doing with it. So that's one thing you could do. Also, if I take the same part that's playing on the Oberheim, if I half the speed, and automatically you've got the makings of a decent track, because you've got two parts which are automatically harmonically related to each other. Okay, rhythmically it's dead straight because I've filled in every single note to turn it into more like an ARP pattern. But you could easily take away some of those notes again. You could take away all the green notes, for example. I wouldn't usually have them color coded like this. You'd actually play with the velocity separately to give them a velocity shape, but we're using this for demo purposes. So okay, so yeah, something like that. You could also do the same thing yet again, and you could half the speed yet again. It's out to 8 bars long. And because it's going slow, it's always going to sound good going low. Slow and low. That's one of the little watchwords, something you can use as a kind of a shorthand. And slow down the attack, make it less aggressive, turn it into more of a pad sound. I'm clipping my master here, which is all the eagle-eyed amongst you will be aware of. But yeah, that's how I do it. That's how I'd go about it if I was writing a dance floor record and I want to create quick ideas. And all of those things can also be used for percussion parts. Once you've written it, you can use it in lots and lots of different ways. It's just a pattern and a rhythm, and you can play with a swing and you can play with the velocity. So you're starting off strong at the bottom, medium in the middle, and weak at the top or something, you know. Okay, hope that was helpful. See you again.